Amber Pereira. This woman caused a devastating crash that killed 3 people. She is now spending 50 years in prison.
The emotion got the best of Amber Pereira throughout the 3-hour hearing. At times, she dropped her head into her hands in despair.
This 31-year-old woman caused a crash along the Selmon Expressway in 2017.
This is a very serious case.
In this incident, 29-year-old Rita Felipak, 41-year-old Luiz Felipak, and their 8-year-old daughter Giorgia lost their lives.
Yes, ma'am, your life is ruined, but you also ruined a lot of lives and ended 3 lives.
The defense asked that Pereira be given 20 years followed by a probation, and the prosecutor said to give her life sentence. The judge, after being moved by the emotional witness impact statements, decided to think about it and give his decision after a few days. He later announced the sentence, 50 years. Another woman was also injured in this incident, a Jeep driver, Tracy Lee. Pereira's blood sample showed a level at 0.1, and under the Florida law, a driver is presumed impaired at 0.08 or higher. Not only that, but Pereira also had 3 cannabis-related compounds in her system, 2 of which were in high concentrations, easily affecting the brain at the time of driving.
Police tell us Pereira was on prescription meds, her grandmother saying one of them was for seizures and believes that led to the crash.
Pereira had a history of epileptic seizures, and her attorney did try to use that as an excuse to keep Pereira off the hook. But a data recorder showed that Pereira, traveling at 120 miles per hour, tried to slow down to 100 miles per hour right before the crash. This showed that she did try to avoid causing a crash and thus was not under the influence of a seizure. After causing the incident, Pereira did not stop but kept on driving until her tire fell off and she could no longer escape. This was evidence of her selfishness and the lack of accountability for the devastation she had caused. During a recorded phone call from the jail, Pereira had said to a family member that her life was ruined.
He reminded Pereira of a jailhouse comment she made about her life being ruined.
Rita's father, when he came to the stand, said that not only her life was ruined, but she had also ruined the lives of others, and therefore she deserved to spend the rest of her life in jail. Pereira can be seen reacting emotionally to the sentence, ashamed and guilty for her actions. Jorge Solis. This drunk driver was sentenced to 75 years in prison. In the crash he caused, he killed 2 children and another man.
She made the revelation as the drunk driver behind the crash that killed 2 children learned his sentence today.
2 other passengers were severely injured, one of them a child who is now paralyzed and will probably never walk again. The 3 children were riding with their grandfather and another man. Solis, under the influence of alcohol, was driving down the wrong lane with his headlights off. When Solis caused the crash, he was underage. His license had also been revoked during the time he was drinking. Witnesses testified that Solis was absolutely reeking of alcohol at the crime scene. He later passed out on the highway while the police were there. After causing the crash, he even tried to slide out of the driver's seat and get into the passenger side of the car, trying to pretend that he wasn't the one driving. The children's father said to Solis that he will never forgive him.
I never got to give his birthday presents or nothing. We passed a week and a half for a birthday.
He cried during the witness statement, saying that his 8-year-old was close to his 9th birthday, but will now never get to see the present that his father had bought for him. The mother gave an extremely heartbreaking statement where she said that justice can never be served when anybody dies of somebody else's actions. She further added that she often thinks about killing herself.
There's not a day that I don't think about killing myself.
She said that this incident had shaken her faith and that she couldn't understand why God had done this to her. Solis came to the stand and said a few words to the family.
To the family, from my heart, I'm very sorry for my actions.
He said he was extremely sorry for the pain caused, but Solis's face and demeanor was extremely lacking in any emotion. For someone who had killed children, the man showed no shame and guilt. Matthew Carrier.
It was a crash that went well beyond drunk driving. It was murder. Today, a judge closed the book on a tragedy that took 5 lives.
This man caused a crash that killed 5 people in southeastern Michigan. Matthew, while driving drunk, did not stop at a stop sign and collided with a vehicle, killing Candice Dunn, an officer from a state corrections department who was coming home after being celebrated as the Agent of the Year.
The scene from May 2007 was horrific. 2 cars traveling in opposite directions on M59 are smashed beyond recognition. The people in both vehicles are trapped. Some are killed instantly.
Her boyfriend was severely injured. Candice's mom, Linda Hurley, and Hurley's boyfriend also died on the spot.
We've heard about how you've had a rough life, that your father wasn't around to help raise you, how you got into drugs and alcohol at a young age, you were homeless, mental illness, etc. I don't know if I'm supposed to feel sorry for you. I don't know what to feel.
Candice's sister came to the stand and talked about how Carrier's lawyer spoke about his mental illnesses and troubled childhood. She said that she doesn't know whether to feel sorry for him or not.
This isn't the first time you've driven drunk.
She carried on to say that Carrier chose to drive drunk the first time and chose to drive drunk the day he caused the accident. She brought to light the fact that we live in the time of Uber, which is just a click away. If someone drives drunk, they drive with the intent to kill someone. She finished by saying, "You, Matthew, are a murderer." 2 other people who were killed were passengers in Carrier's own car, and they included 18-year-old Justin Henderson and 24-year-old Preston Wetzel.
Nothing is the same anymore without him. Holidays, birthdays.
Wetzel's family came to the stand and said that nothing is the same. No birthday, no holidays, and no Christmas. He said that Preston is truly missed. There was an emptiness in their lives. Carrier was moved to tears listening to the witness impact statements. He could be seen breaking down listening to the emotional statements from friends and family members of the deceased. He read his own statement to the court, which said, "I should have slowed down, opened my eyes, and saw the situation for what it was, and really thought through what I was doing."
I should have slowed down, opened my eyes, saw the situation for what it was, and really thought through what I was doing.
He admitted that alcohol was a problem for him, but he still chose to drink it. He pleaded no contest to the 19 counts he was charged with. Todd Grzinski. This repeat drunk driver was sentenced to a life in prison.
In September of 2018, Angela Wimmer was killed in Lakewood when she was rear-ended by Todd Grzinski. He was driving in his truck drunk down Kipling at almost twice the speed limit when he hit her. She died at the scene.
He was convicted of first-degree murder of 25-year-old Angela Wimmer, a woman who was returning from church. She had stopped at a red light when her car was rear-ended by the drunk driver. Wimmer was taken to the hospital where she succumbed to her injuries. Multiple vehicles were involved in the collision. 3 other women were also injured. The crash was massive and the debris was spread out over 200 feet. Grzinski had multiple previous convictions for DUI. He had a protection order which prohibited from consuming alcohol, so he violated the protection order as well. When he came to the stand, he negated the claim of the attendants that he showed no remorse for weeks.
I woke up in a hospital room, looking at a TV, watching the news in the morning to see what I had done. That is how I found out when I did.
He said that remorse started as soon as he woke up in the hospital and saw the news. He could not believe the destruction that he had caused.
As I did after sentencing, it's apologizing to the Wimmer family. I am so remorseful and so sorry that I did what I did.
In tears, he said that he was truly sorry to the family and everyone affected. He wished and hoped that they would heal fast in every way. Grzinski admitted that he had struggled with alcoholism all his life. He wished that he had never drank. Jennifer Carvajal. This woman is a great example of how alcoholism is a serious illness and can cause people to make the same mistakes over and over again.
Another big court case we're following this evening. A woman accused of killing her cousin in a DUI crash was given no bond by a judge this afternoon.
The Highway Patrol had reported that Carvajal was clocked 3 times driving at a speed of 111 miles per hour. When she was followed, she attempted to evade the trooper and her car skidded off the highway, going airborne before crashing into a truck. 2 of the passengers were ejected out of the car and 1 died. Carvajal, who was the only one wearing a seatbelt, only suffered minor injuries. But the shocking part is, Carvajal had already served 5 years in prison before because of another DUI manslaughter. She was still on probation. She had killed Keith Allen Davis. Davis's fiancé had told Fox News that she was satisfied with the 5-year sentence.
I'm not at the stage of forgiving her yet, but I want her to get help. He was a good person. He would help anybody to get the shirt off his back.
She said, "I am not at the stage of forgiving her yet, but I want her to get help. He was a good person. He would help anybody give the shirt off his back. I miss him." During the Zoom meeting court hearing of the second incident, Carvajal could be seen wiping away tears when the deceased person's mother spoke. The prosecution said Carvajal should not be released from jail while her case is pending, as she is a danger to the society. If she has done it twice and not learnt a lesson, then what are the chances of her not doing it for the third time?
On the one count of DUI manslaughter that still did not have a bond on it, I'm going to grant the state's motion for pretrial detention and hold you without bond on that one count.
Judge Catherine Catlin granted the state's motion for pre-trial detention and held Carvajal without bond on the DUI manslaughter charge. A restriction was placed on Carvajal to not contact the victim's family or the other passengers who suffered from injuries. Her case is still pending trial. She remains in the Hillsborough County Jail on no bond. Before we leave, we must emphasize that drunk driving is a serious crime. And the goal of this video is to raise awareness about the dangers and impact of such an action. Countless lives are lost every year, and countless lives ruined forever. If one finds themselves in a situation where they think they shouldn't be driving, they should arrange for a designated driver, use public transport, or ask for a lift. Always remember to make responsible choices to avoid causing pain to yourself and other people involved. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that we can continue bringing more courtroom drama to your screens.